Along here is an old friend of mine, Massey Barnes. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show once again for part two.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on today.
Now, for people who want to know what uncensored is, uncensored's my way of showing people that even if we're in disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of disabilities or learning disabilities. But you should never give up, and you should prove to people you can still mount something no matter what. Now, with that being said, it's a half hour of your time, half hour, 45 minutes of your time. With that being said, don't mind me, I'm just setting the timer. So it's starting off, what can you tell us about yourself? I mean, we know from part one, we went to the same school together and everything, but I want this to be different, so I'm going to put you in the driver's seat starting off.
Alrighty. Well, I'm still working at a shop right at the moment. I'm still playing with my group, living in a mission. We just played a show in the city not too long ago, last Saturday at the Alphabet Lounge. It was a good time there.
Now, what can you tell us about the Alphabet Lounge?
Um, it's located in East Village, and it probably holds about 30 to 50 people. The people were very nice there.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many years? I thought there was more to it. So I'm gonna ask you, how many years have you been performing? How did the band come together? And where do you see the band going in the next 5 years?
Well, I've been performing for almost 12 years now, and I got asked to play with them through a mutual friend, so that's how that happened. So we're we we're located in Newburgh. That's where we originate, but we were all born in near New York City. They were born in the Bronx. I was born in Queens, and hopefully within the next 5 years, we're hoping to tour around the states and then eventually around the world when things get a little bit better and we establish our name.
All right, so now people who want to know, is it rock and roll? Is it death metal? What type of music do you cater to?
We cater to rock, pop, and alternative music.
What were your favorite songs and what were your not so favorite songs?
Um, as originals, you mean?
Sure.
Let's see. Well, I kind of like all of them. Yeah, Julio really has a knack for writing good songs. He's been writing for quite the past 5 years, even before I joined the group. And he has his family band called the Generation Project that he started out in. And then for Living in a Mission, they've been a group for 5 years before I joined the group last year because they were in need of a bass player.
All right, now hinting towards the first one, how many years were you a bass player and who motivated you to be a bass player?
Um, I've been a bass player for almost 12 years, and what motivated me to be a bass player was after the death of my father, I needed something to make my life a little more enjoyable and try to work past his sudden death. So music was a great instrument for that.
No, absolutely. Now, you're going to a personal subject of yours, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Let's talk about your father. How
Hmm.
many years was he a firefighter, and was he one of the first responders?
Um, he had been a firefighter for 11 years, and I don't believe he was.
All right. Now, I would like to ask him this, but I don't know if he ever told you what motivated him to become a firefighter. And do you have any interest in following in your father's footsteps?
For question one, I never really asked that question to my mother, so I honestly don't know. And when I was younger, I had the thought of doing it, but after my father passing away, I thought maybe choosing something else was maybe the right thing to do.
All right. Well, this is your time after all, and I noticed that you're wearing the symbol out of
Yeah,
respect. It's really nice.
it would have been his 52nd birthday today.
Well, at least you're wearing it out of respect. That's
Yep.
all that matters. Now I'm gonna pass the show over to you. Was there anything you want to talk about? Any hard-hitting subjects you wanted to talk about that we didn't cover in the first one? This is your time after all.
Yes. Kind of want to know what you've been up to since last time. How's wrestling been going?
And it's going, you know, I met some nice people. I met some assholes. Um, one of the reasons I hate ECW is because, you know, the white trash, you know, dirtbags and lowlifes. And I've like met a couple good ones, but you know, like I said, I met a couple good ones, but I also met a lot of shitty ones.
Hmm.
But like I said, ECW, WCW, TNA, WWE, I interview everyone. And thanks to you, we're up to 278. So that's more important, just keeping the episodes moving along.
Now, do you hate ECW because you feel that it's not classy, or is it just the people?
Um, I would say a little of both. I would say it depends. I don't know. I like Rob Van Dam. I like Bubba Ray. I like Rhino. Um, and these are just characters. I never met them, so I don't know. So I'm not saying anything bad about them. You know, I like Tommy Dreamer. But the ones I got to know really put a face on. I won't mention names. I can tell you afterwards. Those ones were really pricks. Um, the ones I really got to know, that they throw it back in my face. It was really disgusting. But I don't know. I just don't like the ECW because you can have good matches, but you don't have to curse. You don't have to light people on fire. You don't have to get executed or go for the ring. You know, occasionally you want to do that like once in a while, make it special. But every single freaking match, every single week and night, I said, come on, it's then WWF and WWE copied it with the whole Attitude Era, and there's some parts of the Attitude Era I liked, and there's some parts I really hated. Then WCW copied it, and it was the same crap over there too, and it got to the point where this is not fun anymore. And I interviewed Bay Rangme. And I said, you know, you had people fighting in the rafters and coming, jumping or flying down from the rafters, and for some reason they came up with the idea. I say, hey, let's have Sting and Owen come down from the ceiling. That's for fun. And it didn't bother me in the beginning when Sting did it, but it kind of did afterwards. But after Owen did it, and he passed away in an accident, I said, I'm done with the WWF right now. I hate the Attitude Era. There's no reason to have someone come down from the ceiling. You know, that's not entertainment. It's really not entertainment. You want to come underneath the ring or the floor or whatever, that's fine. But coming straight down from the ceiling is not entertainment. Period. I don't give a shit what anyone says. It's not.
I have to agree with you on that because after that happened, I kind of lost interest little by little as each year passed on with the WWF. kind of just tuned out.
That's true, and it's because of Lita and Triss I got back. I'm like, I still watched it, but I was like, man, I really don't care. It's just not entertainment. And I still created people from the past. Like I would play WrestleMania 2000 or WWF No Mercy. I would constantly create Brett, Owen, Hogan, Nash, Hall, because those are the people I grew up to.
Yeah.
And I got back into it for Tristan and Lita, and I was like, okay, well, I just watched it for the women. And then I noticed like Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and it's like, oh, the stories are starting to pick up. It's okay, still well garbagey, but at least it's different. 2002 to about what was it? 2002 when the Rufus Garrison era when they did the whole draft. That was my favorite, and I lost interest in 2004 because it got stale. That's what happens when you kill your competition.
Mm-hmm.
And it got better in 05. Then it got slow in 07 and 08. Got better in 010 when the SmackDown 2010 came out. That game was a lot of fun. Now, it's what 15 years later. You still had the Undertaker going on 25. Most of the people we grew up to are gone or dead, and I don't know, it's okay, but it's not really the same. And you're saying that it's too PG or you like it 14. It's like, you know what? Hit the stop button, hit rewind, hit stop, hit fast forward. There's nothing going forward. Hit stop, erase everything you have, and go back to what made Nitro great. Go back to what made Monday Night Raw great. Because if you go back and bring back the old ring, the old introduction, the old everything for both shows, and TNA should really do this. Raw should go back to the blue and blue white ring with the red, white, and blue ring ropes. TNA should go with the blue and yellow with the Nitro theme. That would be good because you get old people interested again, and when they're interested, they will get their kids interested, and the next generation, and the next generation. I know you're like saying, oh, you just want to recycle things. And you're like, look, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If it's not broken, keep it. If it works, it works. You don't have to screw with it. The problem was you went from PG to crap to decent back to crap, and now you're trying to do the PG thing again. And you have this youth versus us, and you want it to be one, but you gotta have it say, okay, it sounds interesting, okay, it's 2 PG. Now it's too interesting, now it's 214. You have to have a common middle. But that's for Raw, that's for WWE, that's for TNA, that's for Global Force Wrestling that's coming around. That's for Ring of Honor if they get their heads out of their asses and do something with their production. That's for any independent, Northeast Pro Wrestling, East Coast Pro Wrestling. If you do it right, you're going to go somewhere. And I know you're like, oh, well, we can't compete with WWE. They're a league ahead of us. And you're right. They are ahead of you. But they're failing. And they say, well, we have movies. And we have our own TV shows. But you have 3 hours of the same people recycled. 3 hours of Cena, 3 hours of Kane, 3 hours. If you do it, this is how 3 hours is supposed to be. And we can go to another subject after this. This is how 3 hours is supposed to be. And Nitro did it the best. Hour 1, you have the Cruiserweights. You have Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Hoobie 2, Parker, Chavo, Eddie, Jericho. You had Ob Malenko, How old cruiserweights for an hour? Well, that's one. And cater to the cruiserweight title. One. Two, you had the United States Championship and you had the Television Championship. You could easily done one episode of people fighting for the television belt, or an hour of people fighting for the United States Championship. That would have been good. Or if you had women in your company, do an hour of women's wrestling. That would be fine too. And the third hour, the last hour, would be your main eventers. Your Rock, Triple H, Austin, Chris Benoit, Brett Owen, anyone you can think of who's a main eventer, let them finish the show. Or have a reverse, have them open the show and end it with either the United States Cruiserweight or television. By having the same shit over and over and over, it gets repetitive.
What did you think of the music entrances for these wrestlers? Did you like a lot of them, or?
Personally, I miss the old ones. WrestleMania should have kept the WrestleMania music. SummerSlam, and I still make fan-made videos of this. It's WrestleMania 32, but I have WrestleMania 11 music playing. SummerSlam should be the old SummerSlam theme. Survivor Series should have their old music. You just need. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. When I played as Bret Hart in a video game, I gave him his 93 and 94 theme song. Actually, no, it's 93, 94. It's the first one he had at WrestleMania 10 and 9. And then I gave it to him when he had it later on during the Attitude Era. His new theme song, that's terrible. Yeah, I didn't like it. If you're gonna come, Sting is a perfect example of that. If you know what happened to the Crow music, that was epic. That made people who it is by coming out with bah! It's like, what the hell is that? And he has some orchestrated thing, and I like orchestrated music, but that wasn't Sting. That wasn't his music. And he won't admit it, but Seth Rollins ended his career by the shitty match they had. I don't know if you know, but Sting's going for neck surgery. So he says he's got to wrestle one more match, and that's it. And we're all hoping it's against The Undertaker. But WWE's got to screw that up. I don't know. There's a lot of things, If you do what the fans want, Sting and The Undertaker, Hogan and Austin, have Hogan lose the first time, have him win the second. That's fine. Rock and Hogan was fine. Or let Sting have a title run. Then when I'm retired, do something. But they basically buried Sting when he showed up. He showed up, it was so cool. His first match, they wanted to do the whole WCW thing. It's like, I don't know why. It's been 14 years. It's kind of relevant at this point. But you should have done it back when he did the Invasion. But, the Sting lost the first match. Okay. But then he had Seth Rollins' match, but Seth Rollins screwed him up. And he's like, okay, you basically ended the guy's career if whatever was left of it. And so it's basically, and he lost that match too. So he had two matches that he lost that they should have used him to move him up, to make him more interesting for this generation. Instead, they said, we don't want to put a WCW top guy over. That's just, I'll give you a perfect example. And the last subject, too, on this. Scott Steiner made a big deal of Scott Steiner showing up. He was supposed to win the title. Triple H did not want to lose it to him. Okay. Number 2, Booker T. Booker T was a big star. He was supposed to win at WrestleMania 19? Triple H says, I don't lose to people like you. That's number 2. However, Chris Benoit, Bill Goldberg, he didn't have a problem losing to them, but you have Sting and you are refusing to lose to him? And it doesn't make sense why you let certain people get over and other people are like, oh, you're nobody. Sting said it best himself when they're fighting in the ring and Rock Booker T came back to back and Rock turned around and said, who in the blue? And this didn't happen in the ring. The Rock came out on stage and said to Booker T, who in the blue hell are you? And he said that word, that enough of a word right there, was enough to crush anybody. Like anyone, like Booker T. Like, you're a WCW guy, you're a peon, you don't belong here. And Sting said that's the reason I would never go to the WWF. And you know what? I wish Sting never came to the WWF. Because, going back watching that video, he was right. Because you're a WCW peon, you're nuts, and you're a nobody. And honestly, I think that's personally, I don't know if he would admit it or not, but I feel that will be a biggest regret going to the company because you sort of came in, had this big rocket on your back like they did with Bill Goldberg, win a championship, have it for 4 months, retire, Hall of Fame, ready to go. That's it.
I gotta say, Sting really kept himself in shape for many years. I mean, a lot of these wrestlers, after many years, don't keep themselves in great shape.
That's true. Sting was in TNA. He looked great. But towards the end, he was wrestling with his shirt on because he was letting himself go. And I don't know, Sting, it's younger. Look at The Undertaker. He's what, almost 60? He's up there, but he's still performing. He can still do it. And there's no reason why Sting can't. Austin said he's done. He doesn't want to do it. He had Mabel screwing up Stratus's back. And actually, I want to put in that one class and move on to another subject. Why is your time facing almost 5:45?
What's that?
Why is your time facing a long time? Your clock behind it.
Oh, I just never changed it, that's all.
Alright, now going to another subject besides wrestling. Going back to your childhood, what was your favorite thing you always wanted to do, but you never did? Number 1. Number 2, do you still have your yearbooks?
The second question, I have the 2007 yearbook, and when I was much younger, one of the things I wanted to do was drive a fire truck.
Oh, that's really cool. What about sports-wise? When you were a kid, was there any activity you wanted to do, but other people said it was weird or bizarre?
I mean, I played soccer and baseball for a little bit, then I stopped.
The one thing I wanted to do when I was younger, I sort of asked you back then, but now it's kind of relevant. The one thing I always wanted to do was do one of those human pyramids.
I did one of those when I was younger. I have the picture somewhere, but I gotta find it.
See, I love that stuff. It's human art. It's an exercise. I could have asked you. I could have asked a couple other people we went to school with. But I had a fear of being rejected, so I just kept that to myself. Also, I was friends with one kid, but he was friends with all the dirtbags and the lowlifes. And so if I said something like that, it's like, oh, Keith likes doing pyramids. Oh, he must be a fag. He must be this. He must be that. So I'd never said anything till a couple of years later. But, that was one thing I always wanted to do. But, well, on the subject, if I can borrow your yearbook, I really appreciate it.
Sure. But it's from 2007, so
I know, there's a couple of T-shirts I want to look up.
yeah,
Try to reconnect with.
you got it.
Now, while on the subject, I don't know if you heard or not, but I heard recently. Did you know Mr. Hintz and Steve Fishbein has cancer?
I did not know that.
Yeah, from Fishbein, I met him once or twice, but didn't really say anything. But I basically, my mouth hit the floor when he said, "Oh, yeah, Mr. Hintz has cancer." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, you're getting. I know people get old and all this happens, but I just." Out of all of my favorite teasers, I liked Tom Earl. I liked Mr. Henson. It's funny to tell you a funny story wrapping up. Is that when I got in trouble in I always got in trouble in my senior year, thanks to a few classmates who were wusses. And so instead of coming to me and tell me, they went and ran to the teasers. So, with that being said, every time I got in trouble, I always ran to Mr. Hintz. I always told him, hey, well, you're always in my office. Why do you don't go to the house? Hey, I'll be honest, they're assholes. It's like, oh, well, he looked at me, he started to laugh a little, and he stopped. It's like, oh, we shouldn't really talk like that. But it's true, they're assholes. I want nothing to do with them. So that's why I always went to Mr. Hintz for everything. Anything that comes up, anything big or small, it's like, oh, they're doing it again. Can you step in? My family. I'm not doing this. It's kind of like, it's always good to have someone on your side. And so that was my favorite story. Mr. Simonson, on the other hand, nice guy. I pissed him off. I admit that, and I apologize. He, see, so him, Simonson, Mr. Raw, three of them, I kind of bugged the crap out of them. But those three are my favorite teasers, period. Looking back, I really can't think of anyone that, it would have made a difference. But what about you, wrapping up? Who were your favorite teasers going back?
Um, in middle school, Mr. Matat and Miss Hayes, and for high school, Mr. Blavel, Miss Ishmael, Mr. Brahmin.
Yeah, Mr. Bro, I know if you had him. Mr. What was it? Barbelt?
Mm-hmm.
He was in charge of the student union.
Mm-hmm.
He was a nice guy. He always made jokes. I always said I wanted him as a teaser, but we always made jokes to each other. But he was a nice guy. But are you still?
Sorry.
All right, wrapping up. Do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? How can they follow you on social media? Are you finally on Twitter?
Um, I'm not on Twitter. I am still on Facebook a lot of the time because that's where I can mainly talk to pretty much everyone that I know.
What about LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn?
No, I am not.
I recommend you gain a Twitter and a LinkedIn.
I'll look into it.
All right, now wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say? Any words of wisdom before we wrap up?
I just want to thank you for having me on here, and always support KeithAndrewNetWork.com.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.